What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about some secret changes and awesome content updates coming to Modern Warfare 3, which you probably didn't know about because Sledgehammer only revealed this information via an exclusive Q&A over on Reddit. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and also as a reminder, we got plenty of brand new coverage going up over on detonated.com, expanding on all the content you're seeing here on the channel, just in the form of articles on the website, and plenty of tweets, of course, every single hour on Detonated's Twitter. Now, I do want to start off first with a list of patch notes that did release to kind of round up the last couple of days of brand new content updates. A lot of great changes did get added into multiplayer and zombies, so let's jump right into all of that. As you can see, these got added on Tuesday, November 21st. It's unclear if maybe every Tuesday now we're getting patch notes, then Wednesdays are playlist updates. I'll keep you guys posted with what the routine's going to be this year for MW3, but global stability and performance, resolve the crash that could occur while viewing weapon challenges, UI bug fixes, close an exploit that allowed players to equip weapon camos they have not yet unlocked, address an issue that prevented players from equipping the Borealis weapon camo once it has been unlocked, cosmetics. Dragonfly blueprint for the M4 for Modern Warfare 2 will now appear as expected across all platforms. Just an issue that prevented the appearance of the IO operator, MW2, from dynamically changing as expected. Adjusted the ghoulie camo to prevent it from becoming an overwhelmingly bright in dark environments. So with carry forward and how much content was brought from MW2 to 3, I'm surprised with how much of it functions correctly. Obviously there's going to be bugs here and there where things don't look exactly one-to-one like they did last year, but they're on top of that, as you can see. Multiplayer UI. Wins will now progress armory unlocks without first completing daily challenges. Today's update includes UI modifications to reflect this previously implemented change. This is absolutely massive, right? As I talked about in the podcast, armory unlocks are a cool way to essentially go through shortcuts to unlock items that you'd have to otherwise rank up a weapon fully to actually unlock, or so on and so forth. So it's great to see that if they're going to have items exclusively locked behind armory unlocks and there aren't some items that you can actually get by just leveling up, then at least have it to where all your wins progress through your armory unlocks and you don't have to do the 3 or 4 challenges before the wins start counting towards your progression. Fantastic, right? Love the communication and the transparency there. Bug fixes. Players will no longer experience graphical corruption when transitioning between the field upgrades and social menus. XP requirements in the progression menu will no longer display as negative values under certain conditions. Attachments that are incompatible with the current selection can no longer be equipped to a weapon. Progression and challenges. Update the description of the gilded camo for the MTZ 556. Weekly challenges requiring triple kills and quad kills will now properly track completion. And then for maps here, adjustments to derail and estate. As you can see there, weapons now. We have a bit of a nerf there to the Holger 556, a big nerf to the DG58, but still an increased burst delay. FR556, we got a pretty drastic nerf there, as you can see across the board with all these different values. The Striker SMG, bit of a buff to be fair, and they also decreased the aim down sight time. As you can see, AMR9, the SMG, they went ahead and gave it an increase and a decrease. But then the Striker 9 also got nerfed there, as you can see, with max damage and aim down sight time being changed. The highlight of this balance pass is a reduction to the lethality of the FR and DG58. Both weapons will now require 2 headshots to kill an enemy with a single 3-round burst fire. Additionally, these changes aim to improve the consistency and viability of SMGs to the intended target for the class. Perks, Ordnance Gloves. Remove the undocumented reduction to the cook duration of frags. Going into zombies though, this is all coming from Treyarch. They went ahead and adjusted the Storm the Castle mission. Warlord kill credit is now squad based, and the required mission item will now spawn when a member of your squad kills the target. Interceptor. Destroyed mercenary convoy now accurately tracks completion. Picking up a keycard from a mercenary at the convoy will always count towards mission completion. Tombstone. Tombstones will no longer appear in the next session if a player exfils while in last stand. General, essence can no longer be stowed. Address an issue where newly stowed items, acquisitions, or schematics would be replaced and therefore lost with previously sold items that underwent a swap item interaction. Close various exploits related to the use of symbol monkeys, and an exploit that permitted duplication of score streaks. That was a huge sentry gun issue that we're all aware about, right? Zombie spawn priority has been adjusted to favor increased ground spawning. Fewer ambient zombie spawns on rooftops and higher elevations. Terminus outcomes. Mercenary damage against player armor has been reduced. Thank you. We do not want to see Building 21 level AI in a zombie mode. AI is fine, but not when they're shredding all 3 plates of armor in like 1 or 2 bullets. That's really unfair. Shielded soldiers now have a slower fire rate when engaged. And Pack-a-Punch, just an interaction and UI issue that would incorrectly show Pack-a-Punch level 3 as Pack-a-Punch level 4. That's probably still coming in a future update, and various stability fixes. So those are the patch notes that we got this past week. Didn't get a chance to talk about them because of how much other information and news has been surfacing, but now we're all caught up. But now to get to some crazy stuff here, we have a Sledgehammer Games Q&A that occurred on Reddit a couple of days ago in which they exclusively answered questions about multiplayer. Not zombies, not Warzone. That's up to Treyarch and Raven. We'll probably get separate Q&As in the future for those modes. But for those wondering if they address SPMM, no, they did not. And the reason why is quite simple. The developers that work on our maps, modes, weapons, content drops, they have nothing to do with the development of skill-based matchmaking. They probably don't even know how it works. Not up to them at all, and they weren't allowed to talk about it at all in this Q&A, as you're about to see. So we got an article on Detonated kind of recapping all the major questions and answers. There's a few that we didn't include here. For example, somebody asked about gun game, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring gun game back soon, and what do you know, it came out a couple of days ago. So we didn't include the irrelevant or redundant information here, as you will see. First question, are there any fixes coming for the Groot skin? Adjustments to Gaia and Gaia Black Cell are in the pipeline for MW3, and a future game update will disable this item until said changes can be released to all players. That's awesome that they're listening to that because, yeah, I'm cool with carry forward, but that skin has certainly pissed off the entire community, so thank God adjustments are coming, and they'll even get rid of the skin entirely until they make those adjustments. So wish they would have acted sooner, or not Sledgehammer, but Infinity Ward would have acted sooner for the Rose skin back when that was meta a couple of years ago, but luckily they're acting pretty fast here with Groot. How will weapon balancing work? Weapon balancing is one of the biggest things we are looking at on a daily basis. Our goal is to have a meta shift from season to season to keep things fresh and interesting. That being said, we want as many weapons as possible to be viable to suit the variety of playstyles we have in our community. This is where we are looking closely at the data to target immediate tweaks for weapons that seem to be over or underperforming. We expect Season 1 to have higher level tweaks, with Season 1 Reloaded to have some deeper changes. So clarification there about the meta for those wondering. Cage fights or 1v1 modes coming. There are currently no plans for a 1v1 mode at this time. However, if there's enough interest, that's a nice hint. I mean, we have Rust in the game. It's perfect for a 1v1 playlist, right? I think we had the cage match playlist in Modern Warfare 19 and I believe the old MW3 from 2011. So might as well bring that back at some point with this new Call of Duty for sure. Streak looping. Here's a big one now. I actually really care about this one as well. This is something that the team definitely wants to try out. One of the cool things about our experimental playlists is that they give us a chance to see how things work in the wild. Expect something like this in the future, and make sure to share your feedback in the survey we place in the message of the day. So what's really cool about this though is that the experimental playlist is probably only going to pop up every now and again for just a week. It just left the public rotation, and that experimental playlist featured the player outlines, red for enemies, blue for teammates. I loved it, and I hope that actually makes its way to the game permanently, but streak looping is something that I loved, especially in Cold War. For some reason it wasn't in Modern Warfare 2 or MW3 here, so hoping that it gets received in a positive manner to where they keep it permanent in all game modes, right? I love to be able to get multiple UAVs in one life, for example. As a Spaz 12 coming to the game, there are multiple classic weapons from the MW series that we're looking to add in future seasonal updates, including shotguns and sniper rifles. So that's awesome, just to kind of lay that out real quickly. There wasn't a single DLC light machine gun in MW2, but we at least got the Bruin at launch here at MW3. But shotguns and snipers, there you go. I'm kind of nervous about the shotguns here because they might end up being meta. Boom, 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 KV broadside moment. So kind of nervous about that, like I said, but classic weapons are confirmed. So for those wondering if there's any weapons from MW19 coming back or older MW games, they're probably in the works right now. Anything to say about the desync or inconsistency in hit reg? Our team, in collab with Demonware, is always working to improve server and game performance. We got a lot of good reports and data during the beta and launch window. Many improvements have already been made and further are underway. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Demonware, I believe, is in charge of skill-based matchmaking and stuff like that. Could be wrong here, don't quote me, but I love that they're fully collaborating with them to make sure that everything is as smooth as possible and hit reg makes the most sense. I think overall hit registration MW3 is pretty solid, but it's never going to be perfect, of course. Hello Sledge, will you be making adjustments to Ghost perk as it's currently not working as intended? UAV still shows you. Ghost TV camera will only hide the player from enemy UAVs if they are moving. With that being said, we're currently looking into reports that the detection for moving to standing still is too aggressive. So that's cool that they're looking at that. Any fix coming to covert sneakers? We'll continue to monitor the performance of perks, but at this time, there are no planned changes to the covert sneakers. It is important to note that players aren't totally silent with this perk equipped. There are still other sounds that can give them away. How are you balancing weapons? We already went over that one, but I guess they answered it again a bit differently here. We want each weapon category to have its own distinct role for this different playstyle. In the beta, we saw that some SMGs were outperforming ARs at ranges that ARs should dominate, so we made some tweaks based on that. We're seeing a lot of data that the first SMG a player unlocks are underperforming. We have some buffs planned for those. We want to make sure that SMGs are dominant in the areas they should be: close range, TTK, ADS, sprint to fire, general mobility. The data we have shows the most used SMGs are underperforming, and that isn't great. We are currently happy about where the Rival 9 is in the meta, meta, and we're looking at all the other SMGs with this in mind. Shotgun management is something the team is looking into. TTK of this game does make balancing shotguns extra challenging, but it's important to us to make sure we carve out a space for these weapon types for the people who enjoy playing with them. Will headquarters ever return? Excellent question, right? I love this in 2017. To this day, we're incredibly proud of the headquarters in Call of Duty World War II. Unfortunately, such a feature is a large undertaking. Because of this, there are currently no plans for it to return in MW3. I can promise you, if Sledgehammer had an extra maybe 6 months to a year to make MW3, which they totally deserved, then we probably would have saw a headquarters, right? To kind of round out and close off the new MW trilogy. But sadly, it's not coming anytime soon. I would hope to see it come back in the future on current gen hardware, but we'll see if that ever happens. Now, somebody asked, will combat pacing return? In which they responded, we'd love to hear from players who enjoyed combat pacing in Vanguard. While there isn't a plan to bring that exact system forward, we're planning to experiment with intensity. Since some of the maps have a lot of play space, we expect the upcoming 10v10 playlist to scratch that combat pacing itch. So, still better than nothing. I get it. That's pretty cool. Reason why we can't preview finisher and execution moves anymore. We're looking into the possibility of such a feature. We're proud of our animations team's work on finishing moves and we'll love to show them off. Thank God, because I believe only Cold War had that. I don't remember if Modern Warfare 19 did. MW2 definitely didn't, and MW3 currently doesn't, so hopefully that comes back relatively soon. Any more plans for events in-game? Absolutely. We have plans short and long term to bring some different event flavors to the players, one of which is Field Rep, which is currently live with the COD Endowment. I know it's a couple days old. We now have the new Makarov event, which is very similar to True Legends, where you just have to kind of burn through, I think it's 213,000 total XP to get your hands on, I think it's 10 different cosmetics, including a universal camo. But last and certainly not least, a question that I actually asked on the MW3 Reddit was, will any MW209 DLC maps be added to MW3? For example, Carnival, Storm, Trailer Park, Fuel. Quite a few maps got added via 2 different map packs in 2009. Sledgehammer responded, there are no plans for these specific maps to return at this time. Our seasonal updates will largely be made of all new maps. So they say largely be made. So I do believe with the confirmation we're getting 12 more 6v6 maps in Modern Warfare 3, some of those may be remastered unless they mean 12 original 6v6 maps, and then they'll add in a couple of remasters here and there on top of updates to Gunfight, Ground War. But in regards to these maps from 09, maybe they're just never gonna come back, but they're there, they exist, they could drop at any point in the future. I hope to see a few of these because they were excellent, right? Some of the map packs in 09 featured some COD 4 remakes. I get not bringing those back, but these original maps were awesome. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on this big Q&A Sledgehammer did over on the Reddit? A lot of information about MW3 content in regards to secret changes, new updates, and a bunch of things the community has been asking for. I'm happy that they had that level of transparency this soon in the life cycle. That was excellent. Great for the player base. Let me know your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.